世界のみんなとつながろう Bridges across world communities.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bridges Across World Communities, sponsored by NIA, the Nishinomiya City International Association. My name is Thelma.
And I'm Floyd. Each month, we provide practical knowledge for daily living and important information about disaster prevention.
This program is for English-speaking residents in the Nishinomiya area and is broadcast on the second Saturdays of each month from 12 noon to 12:15.
This month's topic focuses on how Japan is the only country where married couples are still required to share the same surname.
Our disaster prevention tip is about heavy rainfall during the rainy season.
And our guest is Mr. James Cusick, originally from the U.S., now living in Nishinomiya.
提供は西宮市国際交流協会です。
Happy Suyu season, Thelma? Are you able to keep dry these days?
Yes, Floyd, and I'm always prepared for the rainy season. How about you?
Well, I grew up in Vancouver where it rains for most of the year, so this short rainy season in Japan doesn't bother me at all.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah.
So what's our topic for this month?
Well, we'll be diving into a hotly debated issue in Japan, the idea of allowing married couples to have different surnames.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Japan law still requires married couples to share the same surname?
Yeah, I know that. Well, the current law in effect since 1898 is based on the Article 750 of the Japanese Civil Code, which mandates that a married couple must adopt one surname, typically the husband's. But there's growing support to change this.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that this law is unique to Japan, and most other countries allow married individuals to retain their own surnames or offer options to combine or choose other names.
Yeah, but social attitudes in Japan are changing, aren't they?
Yep, that's right. A 2021 poll found that almost 71% of respondents supported allowing couples to retain their own surnames. This reflects a significant shift towards gender equality and personal freedom.
Yeah, but what about those who oppose this change, and what are their main arguments?
Well, opponents, particularly conservative groups and some politicians, argue that sharing a surname symbolizes family unity and tradition. They fear that allowing different surnames would weaken family bonds and disrupt the traditional family structure in Japan.
Additionally, some opponents believe changing the law would create burdensome administrative challenges and confusion in official records.
So it mainly comes down to political resistance. The ruling Liberal Democratic Party has a significant conservative faction that strongly opposes this change. Even though there have been multiple proposals to amend the law, they've been consistently blocked by these conservative elements within the party.
Previous prime ministers showed support for the change, but faced considerable opposition from their own party, which has stalled progress.
Yeah, I've heard some opponents even suggest that couples already do have a choice. If they don't want to share a surname, they can simply live together without getting married.
Wow. Well, that option comes with significant drawbacks, such as restricted benefits for spouses and complicated issues related to children and legal recognition, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, so given these challenges, what are the benefits of allowing separate surnames?
Well, supporters argue that it promotes gender equality and respects individuality identity. Well, many women feel that being forced to change their surname when they get married is an outdated practice that reinforces gender inequality.
Yeah, allowing couples to keep their own surnames would give them more personal freedom and could be a step towards modernizing Japan's family laws. Moreover, it would align Japan with the many other countries that already offer this flexibility.
And let's not forget the option of living together without marriage doesn't provide the same legal protections and benefits, particularly when it comes to issues like inheritance, tax benefits, and parental rights.
Yeah, so kind of in summary, amending Japan's surname law for married couples would promote gender equality, respect personal identity, modernize cultural practices, provide legal benefits to non-traditional couples, and enhance psychological well-being.
Now, these changes reflect a broader shift towards recognizing individual rights and promoting equality in all aspects of life. So there's a lot at stake here.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see a change in the near future?
Well, it's hard to say. Public support is growing and attitudes are shifting. However, it will require more political will and pressure from the public to overcome conservative resistance. If these trends continue, there's hope that we'll see a change in the coming years.
This is definitely a topic we'll keep our eye on and hope for the best.
7.7 Sakura FM.
And we'd like to welcome Mr. James Cusick back for the second half of our interview.
Oh, thank you.
Now, last month we went over a lot of different things, but I think near the end we were talking about you had retired. You were in New York, you retired, and you moved to Japan, and you were saying you were doing so much in New York, and now it's like things are a little slower. But I've looked online, I have to admit, I looked at LinkedIn and some other things, and there's pages and pages of stuff that you've been doing. You've got a lot of research papers, publishing, you're on the board of directors or Henry George School of Social Sciences. So it sounds like you have an awful lot going on for a retired person. So what are your main activities these days in your retired life?
Yeah, thank you. Well, aside from trying to learn a little bit of Japanese, my interest is still in understanding and sharing my understanding around software technology, software engineering, and related topics.
So that's more your background, right?
Yeah, I spent over 35 years in computer science, applied computer science, and research. And so basically I just am continuing to do that type of work. However, almost everything I do is pro bono or just independent, if you will. I do a little bit of consulting, paid consulting, for a company in New York, which they asked me to do some research on companies and technologies to support investment decisions for hedge funds. But it's a very small amount of my time.
Sounds kind of like pretty intense work, though.
It's fun. Yeah, I find it interesting and enjoyable. So that's why I do it. And the research work that I'm doing on my own, sometimes I conduct my own studies, and other times I work with some other folks. I'm part of a team that has members in Europe, Brazil, U.S., and we focus on computer performance engineering questions.
How do you find it being in Japan and working internationally with other parts of the group?
It's sometimes a little challenging, but I've learned how to use the time zone to my advantage. So, for example, I only take meetings in the evening here in Japan, once in a while in the morning, and that lines up nicely with New York. Europe is actually easier because there's more of an overlap. India, for example, is very good. I can talk to people in India most of the day. So that's not too bad. However, I do miss things, meaning, things that are scheduled in the 2 a.m. Japan time. I skip it.
Okay.
So that works that way.
Huh. Now, we have a list of things here. IEEE, there's the Henry George School of Social Sciences. You have a blog. Is there you want to go over any of this or talk specifically about any of these?
Sure. Well, the one thing I would like to mention is the IEEE, which is the largest engineering institute in the world. There are 400,000 members.
Just for our listeners, the IEEE is Institute of Electrical Electronics Engineers.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's about 150 years old, so it was founded in the Meiji era by Thomas Edison and other people like that.
They had electrical engineers in those days?
They sure did. Actually, even in ancient Greece, they they understood electricity. But in any case, here in Japan, there are 20,000 members of the IEEE, and Tokyo is the headquarters branch. But in Kansai, there are 2,000 members, and there are many activities, and people can get involved. Some of the events are either online or in person, and they are no cost.
How would people find out about these events?
Just go to IEEE.com.
Just online, okay.
I think it's .com or .org. Yeah, .org. And you can find out a lot of information there. So I would recommend that. In the Henry George School, which is in New York, and as you mentioned, I'm on the board of trustees there. They have many English language programs, videos, lectures, live events around the topics of economics and society. So it's kind of a very interesting mix of things.
And the access is free.
And it's all free. Okay. Yes. Yeah. And my involvement there, most of the people on the board are economists. I'm one of the few technologists, so I kind of bring that view to the work.
Okay. We don't have a lot of time to go into this in depth, but I got to bring it up, because especially you in software and all this AI, things like ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, things like this. How is that affecting? How do you see it affecting the industry, or even affecting you?
Yeah, I believe that, like any preceding software technology or computing technology, the current batch of AI technologies, which really trace their roots back to the 1950s, these technologies will have benefits to society, and they will eventually become sort of background technologies. Just like today, you don't really know how the compass works in your cell phone, but it is there if you need to know which way is north, right? So the AI technologies will be like that. They will be assistance to the work that we do and our hobbies, and I think they'll provide a lot of benefit.
Okay, so you're seeing it more as a positive thing.
I do.
There's a real mix of how people are seeing it. I think it's positive.
Yeah.
I think there'd be
actually, going back to the 19th century, right, people were afraid of elevators. Why? Because when the first elevators came out, some people were injured, but then safety mechanisms were introduced.
Now, again, we're out of time already. It's gone so quickly, but I want to throw out one quick thing here. There's a book called An Illustrated Journey in and of Japan that you wrote and you published, and it's got your artwork, it's got photographs and writings. Do you think people should get it?
If they like to, if they would like to, it's on Amazon.com. So.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been great, and good luck.
Thank you.
防災情報です。
In Japan, when the seasons change from spring to summer, it usually rains a lot. Now, we call this time of year Tsuyu, or the rainy season.
Well, in the Kansai area, the Tsuyu season usually starts around June 6th and ends around July 19th.
During this time, there's an increased risk of heavy rains that can cause landslides and flooding.
Here are some simple things that we can do before the rain starts.
Carefully review the Hyogo CG Hazard Map and the Nishinomiya Bosai Disaster Prevention Map, both which were distributed by the city to each household this past April.
Check the maps for any nearby hazardous area and also for the locations of your closest emergency shelters.
And of course, prepare emergency items in advance for a quick evacuation.
Here are some simple things we can do after the rain starts.
Keep up to date with the latest weather information from reliable sources on TV, radio, or internet.
If you live in low-lying, flood-prone areas, put sandbags around your house to prevent flooding.
When there are reports of heavy rainfall, avoid unnecessary outings and stay alert, even if the city has not issued an evacuation order for your area.
If things do change for the worse, be ready to evacuate immediately.
And at night, or when conditions are unclear, it may be too dangerous to evacuate. In that case, shelter in place on the second floor or higher in your building.
Let's make this a safe Tsuyu season.
For consultations or any other inquiries, contact NIA at 0798-328680 or send an email to nia@nishi.or.jp. Our English-speaking staff will be happy to help.
Please continue to be careful and stay safe.
提供は西宮市国際交流協会でした。
Have a great weekend, everyone.